Any disease that did not exist initially and it came to knowledge of a humankind because it caused a great havoc. What was it? COVID-19. So when you talk about emerging infections, they are the infections that have appeared for the first time in the population. And in case of COVID-19, it appeared in the way of pandemic. So it affected millions of people worldwide. But it occurred for the first time. And they are rapidly increasing in the incidence in the certain geographical range. For example, AIDS, where did the AIDS come from? And where did it come from? It came from chimpanzees to humans, right? In some African continent, it came from chimpanzees to humans. So before that, it was not known to cause disease in humans. How was it invented? How was it discovered? It was discovered after they found the case of pneumonia caused by Pneumocystis jirovecii and Kaposi's sarcoma. So they saw that this patient is having immunodeficiency and they labeled it as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. And later, the causative organism was established as HIV virus, right? So that is emerging infection. Then you know about Ebola. It is an ongoing infection right now. So it can also be considered under re-emerging infections. Okay. Then apart from these two in the definitions, you can also say that they have been recently recognized due to distinct infectious agent involving certain vectors. What is the vector in case of Lyme's disease? What is Lyme's disease? What is the other name for Lyme disease? Have you heard about borreliosis? Yes, right? So, can you say that 2/3 of these cases, they have zoonotic history? That they have known to come from the primates to humans and they involve certain vector, right? So, most of them are zoonotic. And why do you think this is happening? What could be one of the causes? Could be because of deforestation, right? How urbanization is taking up all the habitat that these animals survive in, and certainly the humans are coming in contact with them, and that is leading to the transmission of diseases from animals to humans, right? Now, these are certain diseases that were discovered in the last few decades. Can you say that half of these have certain vectors or they come from the animals? Avian flu, also known as bird flu. Nipah virus involves infection due to consuming date sap contaminated by blood, urine, fishes, body fluids of bats, right? Did we have Nipah virus in our district recently? Yes. 3 cases were identified of Nipah virus in West Bengal. What is the mortality in this case? About 50 to 75%. And it does have a very poor prognosis because whoever gets infected will have certain, neurological deficit later. So they will bear some complications, right? Because they produce what? Encephalopathy. Then coronavirus, that happened in 2003. This belonged to the family beta coronavirus. After this 2003 SARS-CoV, there was one MERS-CoV that was there in 2012-13, which occurred in Middle East countries. Where did it come from? It came from camels, right? Then Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever outbreak in Gujarat. This also happened in India. Ebola virus, you know, it's an ongoing infection in certain African countries. Monkeypox, recently 2-3 years back you had heard about it. What else have you heard about? Other than monkeypox, there were cases of buffalo pox, right? This monkeypox produces lesions almost similar to smallpox, but it is not as severe as that. Okay. Then again, the biggest pandemic of this century, this is COVID-19, yet. So that also happened. What are the emerging infections that you can tell that are on emergence right now? Certain fungus that is infecting ICU patients and is very difficult to treat. Candida auris, right? Okay, so this is about emerging diseases. Now let's take a look at contributing factors. What are these factors? Urbanization, as I told you. Urbanization, other conditions that favor the rodent host. What are rodents? Which other infection comes from rodents? We had discussed this in SGD class. We had discussed about hantavirus. It also comes from rodents, right? Then Ebola, it has unknown natural reservoir. But who is at the risk now? The healthcare workers who are treating these patients and the close contacts of these patients, right? Then Legionnaire's disease. So this organism, it needs the cooling and plumbing system like environment. So since the advent of these things, it has been on the rise, right? Hemolytic uremic syndrome comes from Escherichia coli. So mass food production system. This food is being produced, it's being transferred to other countries. So there is a chance that some acid-fast cryptosporidial organisms are also spreading like this. Like there is ongoing cyclospora outbreak in USA right now, right? Which came from the imported food, which was not there originally. Okay. Then we discussed about AIDS, we discussed about Lyme borreliosis. What about cholera? Because of tropical climate, changing climatic conditions, the organism is taking up resistance to the known drug for treatment, right? Gastric ulcers. You say that we got a case of gastric ulcer and you're writing H. pylori. There could be other infections also which can lead to gastric ulcers. Hantavirus we discussed comes from the rodents, and pandemic influenza because of the antigenic shift and drift in these organisms. So when you come to think about it, what are the factors involved? What is the epidemiological triad? Do you know about epidemiological triad of disease? What are the three factors that are involved? They are agent. Agent is who? Agent is the causative organism who is able to cause the disease, right? What is the host? Host who is favoring this organism where this disease is being caused, right? And environment. Environment is helping for this causative organism to propagate and providing with the optimal growth habitat so that it can cause a disease in the host, right? So, what are the factors on the agent side? Evolution of agent, microbial adaptation and changes in terms of antigenicity, which means they are taking up the genes, becoming resistant to the antibiotics, right? Antimicrobials. Then same thing, development of resistance to the drugs and resistance of vectors to pesticides. Here one more factor is very important, which is vectors. There could be no malaria without Anopheles mosquito, right? So, even if these vectors are producing resistance towards the pesticides, this will propagate. This malaria, dengue, all of this will propagate. Then, what about the host? The human demographic change. Population is growing. People are traveling from one places to another. So whenever you are traveling from one place to another, you are changing your environment and you'll have to adapt to those environmental changes. So there will be change in your immunity, right? In some population, there could be immunity to certain diseases which you may not find in certain other area. So people are migrating, there will be change in the herd immunity too. Then human behavior. People are prone to drug usage these days. Okay. So all of these factors, they are risk factors for the development of certain disease. Then poverty and social inequality. If you are living in crowded, unhygienic conditions, there are n number of diseases that you could produce if you are consuming contaminated drinking water, if the food is not processed properly, not heated properly, uncooked meat, all of these are the leading factors for the growth of any disease. Then environmental, changing climate and ecosystem, right? So all those changes may lead to disruption of the environmental, and if there was certain protection that this environmental habitat was providing to the person, it might get distracted, right? This might lead for the growth of agents, economic development and land use. We are taking up all the lands that were meant for the forests. So with urbanization, with technology and industry, food processing is taking place. So you can send out the food from one place to another, and there is a chance that there might be the contamination of this food along the way, or it might not survive the optimal temperature that was given to it, and these agents are growing. Okay. Breakdown of the public health by the way of war, unrest and overcrowding. Overcrowding and unrest I do not need to discuss, but in war we can also see that the countries, they are using bioterrorism. So we can also say that this is intentional emergence of a disease in certain area and deterioration of surveillance systems. So if COVID-19 was first identified in Kerala, it does not mean that there was the single case during that time in India, right? They were vigilant enough to notify it to the government, right? So you have to be vigilant enough to identify the cases and recognize the threat and notify it. Okay? So these are all the factors that are involved in the emergence of infections. These are certain bacterial and viral infections that you know about that have been on emergence and re-emergence in India along with COVID-19. Can you see this? Where do you see scrub typhus? What kind of regions do you find scrub typhus? And what kind of people are prone to this scrub typhus? Bushy areas, right? People, the farmers who work in the forests. What happens? It happens due to, does it involve any vector? Which of these do not involve any vector? What does the cholera, what is the causative agent of cholera? It's a bacteria, Vibrio cholerae, comes from contaminated food and water, right? What about anthrax? Again a bacterium, but a very severe one. Then, what about brucellosis? Brucella comes from cattle. Who are at the risk? Cattle rearers, veterinary doctors, right? animal handlers. All of these people are at the risk. Do we have plague in India? Plague comes from rodents, rats. So there is one region specifically in Gujarat and Maharashtra where some small pockets of plague have been observed during 1994. Okay. Leptospirosis, you know about it. Right now is the right time for leptospirosis to propagate. What does it need? 3 hours of leptospirosis. Rain, rice fields and rodents, right? And about viral infections, all of these viruses are there. Chandipura virus, chikungunya, they all have one vector. What do they have? Which mosquito is the vector for these? Okay. These are all re-emerging and emerging infections in India. Now, what are re-emerging infections? Re-emerging infections are those which were recognized initially, they dropped in the incidence but re-emerged in the upward trend. So they re-emerged as incidence or prevalence either in the same geographic area or worldwide. And a very good example for this is TB and malaria. Why are you considering TB here? Why are you treating TB with a multi-drug therapy? How many drugs are you giving to the patient to treat TB and why? TB is often treated with multi-drug because there is a high risk of developing resistance. And we are talking about TB, specifically here we are talking about multi-drug resistant TB, right? So we are considering it into re-emerging infections because it is so difficult to treat. Also in certain cases, malaria, because these vectors, they are developing resistance towards the pesticides. So what would be the most efficient method to prevent mosquito bite? Any ideas? Other than repellents. Mosquito nets, right? What are the contributing factors in case of re-emerging infections? They are inadequate control in the water supply, international travel, increased use of childcare facilities. What do you mean by increased use of childcare facilities? Is it good or bad? International travel. International travel means one person can travel to other part of the country within 24 to 36 hours, which is a very less time. So if a person is incubating some disease, he might drop it. For example, he might just drop it in the childcare facility room and some other person comes with his child, uses this restroom. There is a chance that this child who is prone, who is immunodeficient, let's say neonates, there is a chance that they'll take up this disease along, right? What else is there? Almost everything we have discussed in this, except that even government plays a role in emergence of certain diseases. For example, mumps is dropped from the MMR schedule. So what will happen? The mumps cases are on rise. What are we giving now? Measles and rubella, right? So you can see that mumps cases have been on rise. So you can call it that it's a re-emerging disease in India, okay? Coming to antibiotic resistance, this also comes under emerging. What is happening? We are seeing that there is multi-drug resistant or extremely drug resistant TB, which is resistant to almost all the known anti-tubercular drugs. Okay? MRSA, methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus. difficult to treat and very poor prognosis in the patients. Penicillinase producing Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Neisseria gonorrhoeae should have been very easy to treat with the case with penicillin, just a single dose of penicillin. But then it has also been producing enzyme that is rendering the antibiotic useless. Then vancomycin resistant enterococcus. So you'll have to opt for higher end antibiotics. Okay. Then ESBL, carbapenemase producing Enterobacteriaceae. So it means that there will be a usage of broad spectrum, the high end antibiotics very regularly, and apparently it will also develop resistance owing to the what is that theory? Survival theory of the organism, where when you treat certain bacterium with certain antibiotic, only the resistant bacteria to these antibiotics will survive, because the sensitive ones, they will die off. So what will circulate in the environment? Only the resistant strain, right? So this is the story of survival of microorganisms and how resistance develops. How can you control this thing? You can use, today only you studied antimicrobial stewardship. So this is applicable here. You can use the antimicrobial agents rationally to the right patient after right diagnosis with right route, frequency and dosage, right? What can you do? Infection control measures in the hospital and control of prescription, okay? Creating awareness among the public not to take over-the-counter medications without consultation from a medical practitioner, and price and control quality of the available drug should be monitored by the regulatory authorities. That is also important for not having the emergence of antimicrobial resistance. This is the global example of emerging, re-emerging infections. Okay, almost whole part of the, all over the world there is something or else going on, re-emerging or emerging. Can you see? The ones in the red indicate newly emerging, the ones in the blue are re-emerging or resurging, and this one over here, deliberately emerging. What is this? It's an anthrax bioterrorism. Why is it given like that here? Can you see what is India having here? This belt where we are located, there is cholera. This, WHO has formed a framework that will, with the help of certain scientific body, they have formulated the 6 technical elements that should take care of these diseases. What will happen? The early investigation of first identified cases. First identified case is okay. What is a cluster? Cluster is a group of such cases. What makes a cluster? About 5 such patients make a cluster, for which you have to run the laboratory diagnosis. So you can call it a identified case when there is a laboratory confirmation of this disease, not solely depending on the symptomatic presentation, okay? So that you identify the potential of exposure of the sources, collection of sample at the source, and define the characteristics of this pathogen and alert people about them. So first is early investigation. Then you perform studies. You try to understand its clinical presentation, mode of transmission, pathology, right? What syndromes it can cause. Then you go for human and animal interface. You will try to establish if there is any role from the animals in this disease, okay? Then you will do the genomic phylogenetic study. Also, when biosafety, biosecurity studies are required, you will adhere to these policies too. So, in case of emerging and re-emerging infections, what are the 3 fundamentals that you have to remember? First is recognize, right? You have to recognize the emergence of these disease. Then you have to research about it and Third is you have to try to control it, right? This is about emerging and re-emerging infections.